certain ways to make people kind of get up off their ass and get it moving.
Yeah.
Can I curse? Sorry.
Yeah, man, bro.
Okay.
It's the Crack King podcast. You can do whatever you can say whatever you want. You could. It's all good. This is a free space.
A breath of fresh air when the kicks on. The Crack King podcast. A breath of fresh air.
Okay, here we go. One more time. This is the Crack King from the Crack King podcast, and I got an extra special brother here on my show. I appreciate him coming out. We got a poet, content creator, Black historian. I think I said that right, brother.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. So my name is Airanthinksalot, man. That's gonna be my name on all platforms, from TikTok to Instagram to YouTube. On Facebook, my name is Aaron Words Turner. And yeah, essentially, like he was saying, man, I do poetry. Back in my day, if you look on my TikTok, I used to dance a lot. I broke my ankle back in January, so I had to kind of slow down with that. But
no shit. Were you doing like a high flying move or something?
I slipped on ice. So the most exciting way to break your ankle, man. That's how I did it. So yeah.
I thought you were doing like a James Brown or a high flying act or something.
Nah,
like
man.
That,
man. I wish I had a story to tell for that, but nah. I just slipped on some black ice. It was this winter out in like Syracuse and then the upstate New York and in the Buffalo area. That ice was kind of treacherous, man. It was dangerous. You not even want to step outside without getting hurt.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from the Bronx, so Bronx, New York.
Bronx, New York. If you know me, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, man. I moved to Texas in '94.
Brooklyn, huh?
Why does everybody say that shit when I tell them I'm from Brooklyn, bro? Like, what's up with that?
Nah, but like the Bronx and Brooklyn got like an unspoken like thing. I don't know what it is. We love each other. I mean, if it comes to us versus like Queens or something, then we got each other's backs. But it's always this like weird competition between the Bronx and Brooklyn. I don't know why. Everybody thinks that like the Bronx is dirty or something. I'm like, listen, man, Bronx is the Mecca. It's the beginning of all that. You know what I'm saying?
We'll agree to disagree on that one,
Oh
sir.
yeah. Yeah, I went to Buffalo State College.
Okay. Did you graduate?
Yes, I graduated with a major in computer information systems.
Congratulations, young brother. That's amazing. I like to always, tell the young people, you made it out of high school. Go ahead and try the university or college experience. Just try it once, just to see. Don't never just be like, yo, it's not for me. It's not for me. That's one of my issues. One of my beefs. We'll get into that with the Black community. We always be like, oh, that's not for me. Everything is for us.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, what age were you when you had knowledge of self?
I mean, knowledge of self. So I was always a pretty smart kid. I was the kind of kid where like if I was in a car, even when I was like 3-4 years old, I was reading the billboards that were going by. Like I was just one of those kids who just loved to read, loved to kind of immerse myself in that world of reading. For me, reading was a big escape. I grew up in the South Bronx with a single mother. Things weren't always Gucci. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times things were bad, and so I used reading as an escape. That was my way of kind of getting out into a whole new world. And so I was always smart and then always very spiritually connected. So a lot of times growing up, I would have those dreams where like you were stuck on the bed, right? And then you like can't move, but you can still kind of like see like what I'm around you. And sometimes you would see like little like shapes or figures in the corner. You know what I'm saying? It's like a small stuff like that, or being able to sleep and kind of control my dreams and stuff like that, and kind of control exactly what I wanted to dream about. That's what kind of stepped me into a realm of like, all right, there's definitely something here bigger than myself. Yeah, I was able to kind of fall asleep and kind of just think about what I wanted to dream about, and then be in the dream and make it my own reality. I was going through that from when I was young, maybe like 6, 7, 8.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it was terrifying when I was young too. I didn't really know who to go to. I didn't know what was going on. I just thought, but that's when I knew like, yo, there's something here bigger than me. Like there's definitely something here. And I kind of started to just look more into like meditation and just kind of connecting more with like my like higher self and things of that sort. But it didn't really hit. Nothing really connected. And the enlightening period didn't really happen until so I went to boot camp after high school. I went to the Marine Corps after high school. And in boot camp my mom was actually killed. So this was probably like maybe like 2.5 months in. This was on Thanksgiving Day. I found out. Funny enough.
Sorry for your loss, brother.
It's okay. So when that happened, when I heard the news, it was like the whole, like 5 seconds felt like 5 minutes. Literally, like everything stopped. Like, and everything went super slow. And in that moment, I just felt something in my brain kind of go. And all the switch and like all of my intelligence and stuff kind of, it hit me, and like I kind of separated from myself for a second. It's kind of hard to explain, but I kind of separated from myself for a second. I could see everything around me. I could see myself. I could see the whole room. And that's when I started to that's when I felt that higher self. Like I felt like I was that higher self, and I felt like I was something apart from my physical body. And from that point on was when it really got serious. Like I really just started to kind of like talk different and just speak on different planes of existence. And once I was able to do that, the subject matters that I chose to focus on and look at became a whole different subject matter for me. Now I'm able to kind of dissect things and break them down from different perspectives and from different angles, be it from anywhere really. And you know, like I was saying earlier, sometimes things that you might think become a dead end are really just like building blocks for you to kind of stand on and be able to like look at things from a different perspective, you know.
So when that conscious light came on, did you stay into the military or did you leave?
No, so at that point they asked me if I wanted to go ahead and finish boot camp. I was like no. Well, no, I actually said yes. I finished boot camp, I graduated, I went to the funeral. So funny enough, I had to go home in boot camp, and because I was almost done, they had me wear my just blues, which were essentially like my white cap and my blue
uniform,
like fit basically. Yeah, sorry. And just so you know, I used to have a really like bad stutter back in the day, and so you might hear me like stop and pause, but that's just me trying to kind of make sure that
it's all good, brother. If you just express yourself, brother.
Yeah, right.
Like I tell everybody, this is the Crack King podcast.
Yes, sir.
You're free to say how you feel, and there's no judge. It's free judgment zones right here, bro.
Yes, yeah, and even on that tip, it's like how many black people are just so smart and so intelligent but don't know how to vocalize it or how to kind of express it. I've met so many people that geniuses, flat out like geniuses, but just don't know how to put it in the right words and kind of express it. And that's kind of my purpose and kind of what I think that I'm here for. From a kid who grew up stuttering severely to like who I am now and what I do, it's all kind of come full circle for me in that way. Yeah, so in boot camp, I actually went to her funeral. I had to go back to boot camp, and then I graduated. I went to combat training, and I was in the military for about 9 months. In that time, I was going to like therapy and stuff like that for what was going on. And I actually got a call from a buddy of mine in high school, and he essentially was asking like, hey, like, what are you doing right now with your life? And I said, oh yeah, I'm in the military. And I expected him to like be proud, and he was like, whoa. He said, why? He said, why are you in the military? Seriously, he was like, you don't belong there. He's like your mind and how you think in your brain. He's like, why would you be there? And essentially I went there to be able to kind of make money, get out of the South Bronx, travel, and to send money back home. You know, my mom grew up as a single mom, and sometimes being a black son to a single mom, you become more of a husband than you do a son. You know, I always take these messages from people as like messages from God. I think that God speaks through people a lot of times. But if you're not acute enough to be able to listen to it and to hear it and to respect it as coming from God, then it's going to be tough for you to be able to kind of catch those hints and navigate to where you should be in life, as opposed to where you might just end up, right? So I took that as a big hint, and I told my therapist, I said, hey, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I think I'm supposed to be doing something else with my life. Swear to God, flat out. And he was so kind, man. He was like, yo, I got you. He was like, I kind of feel that way too. And this is how I know that God is kind of involved in some of these things in my life, because how do you tell a military therapist that, hey, I don't think that I belong here, and I think that I should leave. And he kind of honored that and helped me leave in the best way possible. Like I got out with like an honorable discharge. Yeah. Like and it didn't have to be that way, right? It could have went the complete opposite way. I could have got out on a med sep. I could have got out on like any kind of thing where I wouldn't have been able to kind of utilize those same benefits too. And so from that point, I went back to the South Bronx. I lived on my best friend's couch for like 2 months because, you know, my home was gone. You know, and he lived in the same building as me growing up. So imagine having to kind of go upstairs and look past that door every single day. I had to look past that door every day on my way upstairs. And I lived there for about 2 months. I applied to college, and you know, I went to college and I asked the like staff, hey, I don't really have nowhere to live. Can I just live here on the breaks and stuff like that? And they honored that. I worked 1 to like 2 jobs the whole time there, and because of what I've been through, I had a different mindset going into college. You know, while a lot of my peers might have been going to parties and getting drunk and stuff like that, I was hell-bent on graduating. Like I was hell-bent on just doing my thing, because I knew like this was all that, like this was it for me. Like if I didn't graduate college, I probably would have been back in the Bronx, just ending up like everybody else, to be honest with you. Because although I was bright and smart, sometimes opportunity can limit what somebody can do, right? And if life just keeps closing doors in your face or making things happen, after a while you might just be like, oh, fuck it. If you want me to like become this kind of guy, I will. You know, but like blessings, I was able to kind of keep straight head on and meet the right people. In college is where I joined a organization called the Ink Club, and really that was the like poetry group on campus. And sorry, my dog is in here. And they called me Words. And my nickname was like Words, essentially, on campus. And I was, for the first time in my life, I was like a popular kid, man. I was like that guy. Like
you always been popular, man. You always been popular, bro. You just didn't know it. You just didn't know it.
You know, growing up,
you were having like epiphanies at 3.
Exactly. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I always felt like people paid a lot of attention to me, even like school bullies or whatever. Like people were always drawn to me. I always stood out in a crowd. I hated it when I was younger. As I'm older now, it kind of helps. But you know, growing up, you know, being a nerdy, inquisitive kid in the South Bronx was not it. Like, they was not jacking it.
They don't like that shit in Brooklyn either, man. I can tell you stories. But I think it's just it's almost like it's bleeding into our DNA. These misconceived notions and this trauma that came from slavery and the Jim Crow era and these type of things.
And the worst part is that knowledge is what gives you the power to escape. Knowledge is what frees you, and of course they'll try and spin it to make it seem like knowledge is something that will actually hinder you or to hold you back. But what I found is that a lot of Black people are very insecure when it comes down to knowledge. For them, it's like, can I even learn this, or can I even do this, or will I be accepted here? They spend a lot of their time focusing on building other attributes of themselves up, whether it's like looking a certain way or being cool, that they feel very insecure.
Sexual prowess, all that type of shit.
Yeah, sexual prowess. How big is my dick? How tight is my pussy? How fat is my ass? All these other things that it's like, listen, man, your body will degrade, but your mind is something that can last forever, man. Don't be afraid to learn, and don't be afraid to struggle. You know, my mom always told me, like, never be afraid to ask questions, ever. I don't care. There are no such thing as stupid questions. Period. That even the idea of there being a stupid question is kind of
stupid in itself.
Yeah, like of course, if you don't know something, then you should ask. Or if you're in class, sit next to the smartest person. Don't be afraid to kind of sit right next to them and kind of just absorb what they might know, because you would be surprised what you can pick up and learn just from being open to like someone being better than you at something. And eventually, it's not about being better than them, it's just about being the best version of yourself, right? So
gotcha. Because we have this old stigma, like no one like the know-it-all. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a stigma. Don't be a know-it-all. Don't be a know-it-all. I mean, if you know a lot, you each one teach one. Did a lot of your research and got your facts? Was in college?
A lot of it, you know, funny enough,
when it comes to Black history and the Black community.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always tried my best to pay attention to what's going on around me. A lot of knowledge is through observation. You know, even if you and then with these iPhones now, man, I was up on my phone all the time, all night, looking up stuff. A lot of my poems that I wrote for like black events, I would have to research. I'm not gonna make a poem that is historically inaccurate, right? So I would stay up till maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, just down the rabbit hole, just like looking stuff up and then applying it into my poems. And being in the poetry club, everybody there was pretty much black. So you got to hear other people's poems and what they researched and what they kind of collaborated on and stuff like that nature. So I would say just being in college, being a nerd my whole life, and just through kind of like observation growing up in the South Bronx, which is like, if you want to talk about a black code experience, like New York City, like that's where like a lot of the other hoods, in my opinion, kind of emulate what that New York City hood was. A lot of the first gangs was from New York City. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the culture, that whole culture derived from there. And when I left New York City is when I realized how many other states and cities tried to kind of copy that.
When did you realize that you had a voice that people wanted to hear what you had to say?
Honestly, probably in college. I mean, even in the military, I was defending black people all the time, like, because at this point in time, I was like one of the only. So my MOS was through something called Intel. So I was probably like one of the 4 black people that in the military made it into Intel, because you have to have very high test scores to get into that. And so it was me from New York, and then everybody else was from the South. So even the black people that were from the South didn't really understand Black Lives Matter. They didn't really get it at all. It was just, for them, it was like, what do you mean? Of course Black Lives Matter. I mean, all lives matter. Like, that's how they were. And so I would have to vehemently defend black people there and really explain to them why Black Lives Matter was a thing and stuff like that. And I was always kind of outcasted in that way, trying to kind of bridge that gap. And I don't start with anger first. I do understand that people don't understand. I do understand that if you grew up as a white person your whole life, you probably don't know what the hell is going on with the whole Black Lives Matter thing, just because the amount of information and knowledge she was very spoon-fed, and it's built in a certain way to where, you're going to uphold the customs that America has been putting forth since the beginning. That's what if you're like I'm a white person, you almost have to go against the grain to learn those things. So if you grew up regular, just living your life, and there was never a need for you to actually learn anything, why would you? So I've never approached it from an angry space, but I really approached it from a space of listen, you guys have to understand this though, because we work together in the military, and you guys preach the whole we're all green bullshit, but how am I supposed to feel comfortable next to my brother in the military if he's saying shit like, my parents' taxes is the reason why your parents got to eat, due to food stamps and shit like that. Those are the type of shits that I'll never forget. And that fucking still with me. It was how pretentious do you have to be, and just to not even, but I did make some white friends in the military that to this day have me on Facebook, and to this day watch what I do daily, because although they may not say it out loud, they are very interested in where I'm gonna go, and they knew the whole time that what I was saying was true, because you look now 8 years later, and the shit's only getting worse.
Speaking of Black Lives Matter, how do you feel about what's going on with the leader of the Black Lives Matter and this whole money situation?
It's kind of feel very similar to who Dr. Umar Johnson is too, in that regard, because it's when you have
Dr. Umar Johnson,
absolutely, I fucked with him heavy. It's like, I always thought to myself too, I was like, if my TikTok is popping like that, right, and let's say I do get to a place where I become a real voice for the black community, and let's say I do get rich from that. Thank you.
A voice for the black community.
Thank you. But if I do end up making a bunch of money from this stuff like that, I'm like, am I able to build a nice place for my family without black people feeling like I use them to get ahead? If I were to use that money, and although I do donate, and although I do start programs, let's say I do live in a mansion because I just make that much money from it, how will I look? You know what I'm saying? What kind of leader do black people need, and what does he or she have to look like for us to feel like they're still humble and like we can still reach them, and like they haven't just gotten money. Because the issue is sometimes when black people get money, there are two forms of like oppression really in America, and that's going to be racism and then classism, right? So sometimes when you're, you know, as a black person, when you make that money and you go to a different class, now things change, because although you are a black person and you may have a good voice, if your class becomes out of reach, sometimes black people don't feel like they can always relate to you, and they may feel like you may have been using them to get to a different class this whole time, and where's that money going and stuff. So it's tough, right? Because I understand perspective. I get that from her idea. It's probably just like, oh well, you know, we got this money and I wanted to build a nice family for my house, blah blah blah. But she did kind of ball-faced lie too. So let me not give her too much credit.
That's what I'm not
gonna.
So it's like, why not invest back into the community instead of buying a $20 million mansion where you can buy apartments, build apartments, and still live upper class?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That was my only beef.
I think a lot of black people, and not maybe a lot, but I think that some black people are, how do you say it? Not afraid of their own kind, but they are a bit weary. I think that they do. Black people, when they, you know, want to get to a certain place in their life, sometimes they feel, oh, I gotta get out of the hood. Why? Why do they say that? Because I think that they acknowledge the fact that, you know, there are black people that can be ignorant to the point where it's dangerous for me and for my family and for my kids, and I want to educate them, but is it at the expense of my safety? At what point is it my safety versus me wanting to uplift the black community, you know? And, you know, do I stay in this hood to prove a point versus do I leave the hood to get to a place where I can speak freely and help from a distance? And I think that sometimes black people do struggle with that, you know, like, yeah.
I just feel like other nations, they build their own hood. You know, they have the Chinatown, Little Italy. It's like, why can't we just start from our, you know, our foundation and rebuild it? Just like you can rebuild the foundation on your house. Yeah, just rebuild the foundation and bring it up.
Yeah, and I agree with you too. I don't want you thinking that I'm, but
no. This is we just throwing shit out there, man. We just trying to get a conversation solution.
Going, man.
It's
like
a solution on it.
Well, trust is a big thing. That trust, man, needs to be rebuilt, and that's even like, I did one podcast on my YouTube, and it was titled "Rebuilding the Trust Between Black Men and Black Women." And that was a big thing for me because I felt like we're in a time right now where black men and women are like warring, and that was started by the
black. It's the new black battle of the sexes, man. That's what I'm saying right now. We not like this no more. You see behind me, we not like this no more, man.
At all.
I want to blame the social media era, and it's like in the 70s when we were finally coming off of letting go of all these systemic shit. They dropped them drugs on us, and it just kind of reset us all the way back. Now it's like social media is like doing it one more time. They're resetting us and driving that wedge. Why do toxic things in our community go viral, and why do we have to start that conversation? Because I feel like it's supplanting evil seeds in our community. Because in my mind, because we don't even know what happened with the phone call, we don't know, because everybody's like, oh well, did she do? Everybody's assuming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of what we've seen, and that's how social media is. We just get that pop, that trending video, and we don't know what's going on. That's how we live now. We just get one video snippet, and then we just draw off the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do we have to have a conversation about feeding children? Why do we have to have a debate about feeding children? It takes a community to raise. It takes a village to raise. All of this negative shit is trending, and no solutions are made because everybody's been talking about this, but nobody's have a solution for it.
Yeah. Well, you know, one, it's like there's no black leadership, right? So it gets to a point where if there's no one to kind of
I don't mean to cut you off. You're right. We don't have the black leadership because Tamika Mowry is all in bikinis and showing booty now. Yeah, I don't understand that shit.
It doesn't. It's like the
shout out to Tamika Mowry. You're sexy.
So it's like there's just a lot, and to no fault of our own, man. A lot of black leaders are killed. A lot of black leaders are locked up. A lot of black leaders are very, very quickly. It's for a reason. Black people have a lot of power and can move the needle in finances and in conversation and in culture. And so because of that, they have to take away that black leadership, because if they don't, then when that powerful arrow now has a direction, now that's when it becomes very, very dangerous for the rest of the world, right? Because we are extremely powerful and we are all over the world. We're not just in America. And so they are terrified of that right now. I also think that these toxic conversations are black people's way of getting to a sense of normalcy. A lot of times black people want to feel normal. They want to feel like, hey, I can have these kind of combos and it doesn't represent the whole race. But it does, though, because the other cultures are watching. They're watching everything that we talk about and do in the conversation and what goes viral. And to us, it's like, no, we're just having fun. Like, let us have a good time. Let us be entertained. Let us just be able to just be like everybody else. But we're not like everybody else. And I think we have to realize that we are different, whether we are the like chosen ones or whether we are just a different nature of force here, the like foundation here. Like, we have to start to uphold those values and treat ourselves like the kings and queens that we are, so that conversations like these are where we're like we're not even going to engage in that conversation, because come to find out, and this is where that trust comes in, that whole thing was a skit. And people are saying, okay, well, like, that's okay, it's okay, they got us, haha. No, you can't go on video and make it seem like this is real and get people all riled up. Our people are riled up specifically, and then come around and use that to get followers and get likes and make money and move your family out the hood, and then just say fuck, like, you just fuck everybody else.
Yeah, I done got famous and fuck
exactly.
y'all.
And that's what happens to a lot of black people, that they get to that classism or they get to that fame and they just say fuck everybody else. I'm gonna feed my family, and that's tough because there is a perspective there, right? I'm not mad at nobody trying to feed their family, but as a black person, like I said, we have, and this is what I've always talked about, we have a moral obligation to our race. That's why it doesn't matter how smart I am.
Speaks facts, brother. Speak facts.
We do have a moral obligation here. It doesn't matter how smart I am and whether I can see different planes of existence and spirituality and talk about the like universe, because trust me, I can have those kind of convos too, but I think where I'm needed at is right here. And so I had to make a choice and go, okay, because a lot of white people be like, it's like I'm a smart guy, so why don't you just like focus your attention on like helping the whole world? And I'm like, when I was younger, that was something that I thought of. I wanted to help everybody, but as I got older and I kept seeing black people getting violated, getting shot and getting killed I'm like, I need to go where I'm needed, you know what I'm saying, and just follow God's will and follow where he's placing me. And I found that when I talk about Black lives is where I gain the most traction, funny enough. Not even me trying to. It just so happens that every time that I speak on it, black people really resonate and go, hey, like, you're saying the right things. Like, I actually really fuck with what you're saying. Like, and you're saying it well and you're speaking eloquently. I want you to represent how I feel. You know what I'm saying? And it's an honor.
The honor is mine, because when I watch your content, what resonates with me is your stone cold facts. You know what I mean? This is not something that you're thinking. It's not something that you just popped up out the sky. This is something shit that's in black and white, and it can't be disputed. So, we were talking about the black, I call it the black battle of the sexes.
Yeah.
So, with the rise of Kevin Samuels and his death, do you think we even better as far as relationship wise and bringing up these conversations, or are we the same as before? Like, did he, because I know there's a lot of speculation, like how he spoke to women, he was really harsh, they had rumors that he was gay, which had nothing to do with relationship, his sexual preference. Did anything change, or did anything get better? Because the only thing for me that changes, now everybody's a relationship coach, everybody's running lives, and it's like now everybody could say, hey, I don't like no woman that's like that, so I'm not gonna fuck with her. Instead of saying, okay, let's find out what the problem is between us.
Yeah.
Let's work on it, and let's get with people that are compatible,
that align with our own. Because
exactly.
I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to be like everybody else too, and we're looking at the Asian household and the white household and the African household even, and we're saying, okay, how can we get to there? How can we get to a place where we all agree on what a man should do, what a woman should do? And I think that we're really struggling within ourselves as to what kind of household we want. I think that black women are having a hard time trusting black men to be leaders. I think that black men trying to be leaders are being taken down by the white man and white women. Also, that a lot of black men crumble under pressure. Absolutely, they will crumble, and that's a lot of men. The suicide rate amongst men is the highest because men have a lot of stuff on their shoulders and feel like there's nowhere for them to go where they can feel like they can release and let go. Because if I go to my black woman and say, hey, I'm just feeling very pressured right now, she might not respond the way that I need her to feel like I have a safe space. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is where things like therapy comes in and stuff like that, where we do have the power to put it in our own hands, even up to that point. But then black people are very afraid of therapy. My mom should have went her whole life. She never got to go. She went one time and destroyed the whole office. So you know what I'm saying? It was just, there's a lot of trauma to unpack. Now in terms of Kevin Samuels, when he did pass, because I watched him here and there in very small increments, I had a bit of a hard. At first it was it was funny and it was an entertainment point, and he was saying things that I did feel deep down inside that I would never say out loud. So for me, I was like, oh yeah, brother, go. But it's
those things that you were feeling, we should be able to express that as men. You know what I mean? If it's not right, if the gumbo got bubbles in it, that's a southern thing.
Yeah,
it ain't no good.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because I grew up trying to get girls my whole life. Like I said, I was a nerdy guy, so I was often overlooked. I was told to be this nice guy and you'll get girls. I watched a lot of sitcoms too, so for me, and a lot of cartoons and stuff. So for me, I saw what I saw on TV and I wanted to copy it. I thought that my life was almost like a video game or like a TV show. So I would go out there.
Romantic comedy.
Yeah, man. So at 13 years old, I'm over here wearing a suit and tie, trying to impress girls, thinking that and girls would just be flat out hey, you're funny and stuff like that, but you're just too nice for me. Black women, right? And it hurt me. A lot of times I would stay up all night talking to shorties, and they'll be talking to me about their man who's not doing right, or what I'm saying, and me thinking I'm getting in, and she'll choose me. I was often overlooked, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, and I'll get into plain and simple, 14 years old on YouTube looking up how to get girls. That's what I typed in, plain and simple, how to get girls.
Yeah.
I was tired of trying to figure it out. I just said, I'll just look it up, right? And so I did. And a lot of what I found was, now this was not the red pill movement, because the red pill movement came a little bit later after this. I was probably 14, so this is probably, I'm 26 now, so probably 2010. There was no real red pill movement yet. That didn't really come out yet. There was no such thing. So back then,
they called it alpha male thing. It was red pill. It was called alpha. It was alpha first.
And there was far less opinions on the matter too. Right now, it's so overly saturated that you can find anything about that, and they'll try to justify it. So it's very dangerous. So what I found was that they taught me, hey, saying, try this. Try going, outside and just try talking to 3 girls on your way to a school and just see what happens. And so I said, okay. And every day I would try talking to 3 girls on the way to school. And some would completely ignore me. Some would say, what's up? Then you get to a place of where you say what's up, and now it's okay. Well, here's how you have a conversation with them. How about instead of going in for the kill immediately, how about you just bring up something that they're already doing in that moment to kind of just clear the air and not just come in a predatory space of I saw your ass from a mile away, I'm trying to come holler at you. How about you come say, hey, where are you headed? Yeah, no, I mean, and you can't, and it's just what you're taught, it's just what you see, it's what you expect to work. It's no one's fault, but really, I tried my best to be the best version of a guy I could be to see what would change with women. Whereas I felt like a lot of men kind of get mad at women for not accepting them for the men that they already are.
And that's what Kevin Samuels' message was at first.
Yeah.
Be the best you can be to get the woman that's best for you.
Yes.
And then when he started telling the ladies that shit, be the best woman you can be to get the man you want.
It didn't really.
That's
go so
when
well.
it didn't go well at all.
It didn't go so well. And again, it's. I think my thing with him, and I agree with what he was saying. Sometimes it's how you say it, and I do feel like once he got to a certain level of fame, a lot of it was like a shock value and more of like an entertainment thing, and his message kind of got lost in the sauce of that. You would have to strip a lot of that stuff away and watch some of his earlier stuff to know that he means well. Whereas a lot of black women never would have looked him up, never needed to, never cared to. So if they just met him and got that first jarring message from him, what I've realized is that a lot of women need to be spoken to differently than how you would speak to a man. To a man, we're more like logic based, right? So you can say something that makes sense, and we'll kind of be like, oh, okay. But you can say that to a woman, and it's like, well, you make sense, but I still kind of feel like this. And you have to kind of approach it from a feeling perspective and go, hey, well, let me address how you feel first, and then we can get into that knowledge. So a lot of black women were going to him looking to vent out their feelings first, then get to a knowledge place where he was like, like, your feelings don't really matter here, which is tough to say to a woman.
That's why I felt like he sold out the black community when he started with that, instead of, just like how he spoke to the men, you do your research on how to speak to women.
Yes.
And he kept that wedge, kept that wedge with the way he was speaking to them, because then you're going to have these copycats. Then you're going to have a guy in the street, yo, fuck your feelings, this is how it is. And I've been faulted that before too, saying, a woman saying to me, well, I feel like you're this. And I'm like, well, I don't care how you feel. This is what it is. And it was very harsh, but I could have said that better instead of just closing her down and putting that wedge between us where we don't need that, And
it's about, like, black men have to make a decision as to what kind of black man do you want to be. Do you want to be the leader of your household? And if you do, then unfortunately you're going to have to be the one to bite that bullet a lot of times. Unfortunately, you're going to have to be the one to kind of massage those feelings of the people around you before being able to get to that knowledge base. But black women really appreciate it when black men massage their feelings first and at least hear them out, even if it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to. Feelings don't make sense, right? But just being able to hear them and maintain that sort of like stoicism of like, you have to be the foundation and the rock for the family. So while she's venting, getting it out, you can't get jarred and you can't then get emotional to her emotions because you don't seem like the man that's stable enough to handle her. That's when she will start to feel resentment. It's like she's not heard. It's like and this is not me just purely advocating for black women, but I do feel like we're in a time right now where black men are so adamant about expressing how they feel and how they were done wrong that it's important that I kind of breathe life into black men feeling like, okay, there are times for us to express how we feel, but we have to hold it down first. I think that black men don't really want to take that responsibility on. You know what I'm saying? Because for so long, it just wasn't really... that idea wasn't really taken well, or even like from our fathers getting locked up, and like you said with the war on drugs, like a lot of black men were locked up. A lot of black men were never. A lot of black boys grew up with no black men to teach them and to help them kind of get to that next level. A lot of black women, girls grew up with no black fathers to teach them what a black man should look like. You know what I'm saying? So now they're going out here and they're going for the bad boy and they're going for the one who's doing the most crime and shit like that. And then you have good black men who are looking at them like, well, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? When I'm a perfectly good black man right here. I am like educated, I'm smart, I'm nice. Why would you go for that guy? Now it's good black men trying to emulate being bad black men. And
to get the girl.
To get the girl.
It's just a big mind fuck, man. It's just a big mind fuck, and it's constantly the rerun. Every generation, it's a different type of mind fuck. And it's like I'm so, I'm so sick of it. And it's just hard to navigate through this and talk to people and even gather a group around and agree upon one thing. I was at a barbecue recently and I was speaking on arranged marriages, and I wasn't like just so full-hearted like, oh, this person is going to go with this person. I was just saying, bringing up the idea of if there's a community of positive black families, why not, that are not related, why not kind of edge and pair a little bit, like in the Wu-Tang song, your seed go with my seed go with your seed, and we could build a community. And not everybody, talks to their parents. Not everybody confides in their parents for some reason. But if there's another family that you can confide in and talk to, and you know their daughter, you like their, why not talk to them? Why not have that? And everybody was like, yo, I just want them to love whoever they want to love. And I was like, yo, you could love somebody that is totally not for you and will destroy you.
Black people are very pure people. We do things for the love of it, and I think that when it comes down to relationships, we really are looking to love. Like, we really, whereas other cultures have used relationships as a means of getting ahead as a race, I think that's what we're not understanding, is that even the idea of marriage in the US was not created for love. It was never the original intent of it. And Dr. Umar Johnson always talks about this, that marriage was created as more of a financial thing, as more of a, okay, we both doing well, or our parents are seeing that I'm doing well and that this one here is doing well. Let's get together, so now our 75 grand each turns into 150 grand each, and now we can elevate and have a kid, and now find another person who makes that much, and now boom, 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 and before you know it, now we're elevating. But we're seeing, and this is not to say that one is right or wrong, but I think that them creating marriage as a means of a financial gain is not a pure love thing, which I'm not going to say is right or wrong, and I'm not going to say that black people going for pure love with marriage just for the sake of love is right or wrong, because it's just two different ways of looking at it, right? I can't blame a black person who says, I just want to love who I want to love in a world where love is really hard to find. And I can't blame another culture for saying, hey, fuck all that love shit, I'm just trying to get my family ahead and get to that next level. It's really about, again, what the black community wants to do. We have many examples in front of us. The beauty of this is that we can watch. We have watched. We can see what has worked and what has failed and what has, and we can tweak things. It doesn't have to be an exact copy either. We can combine different ideologies. We can come up with the perfect blueprint for how we want it to go, where we're able to combine all of these different things into one. But we're so black and white. We're so focused on, no, it has to be either this or this. Nothing is like that in life. The people that succeed the most are the ones that are able to combine different things together. That's what inventions are. That's what these things are. That gray space is where some of the beauty of life is. And we have to stop looking at things like a yes or no, or a can or can't, or a here or there, and just go, okay, I see what you're saying. Can we take some of what you're saying and some of what he's saying, some of what she's saying, and actually create a whole new thing that no one has ever seen or heard of before? We are black people. We create the culture.
And we've done that. Yeah, we've done that before, but why is it so hard now is my question. You're educating the black community, and it's like, nah, we don't want that. We want the twerking. We want Kevin Samuels cussing bitches out.
Oh yeah.
We want, we want to see fights. We don't want that. That's not what sells. And that is what sells, is edutainment. That's what sells. And it's like, how do you feel about like this whole, like these social media conglomerates? Just like, it's okay for white supremacist rhetoric to be out there, but our stuff cannot.
Yeah, it's like I wasn't even mad that my shit got shut down at first, because white people sometimes will just report my shit just to feel like they're in like a power stance. Like I said, I've been doing this since like 2016, so even back in 2016 I was getting like death threats like in like my inbox. So I was very used to like the idea of like people not agreeing with me and then using like petty or like underhanded tactics. What made me angry was what they did allow on their platform, and that when I scrolled through my For You page and I saw a black person getting knocked out cold by another black person, and then black people in the comments like pumping it up, and when I saw like black people twerking or whatever, or like gay men on there, which is I don't have a problem with gay men at all, but it's like, if I scroll down my For You page and there's some white boy on there on his stomach like doing some like feminine ass shit, and it's like, okay, well, I have to see this is allowed. I'm like, where's the line? Like, what are you allowing and not allowing? And if you're gonna take me away for whatever, for bullying and harassment, what about these other things too? Whatever, if what I'm saying truly is hurting people, then and if that's our standard, I'm a person where I just want it to make sense. Just make it make sense for me. Just make it so that it's fair for everybody. If you're gonna uphold that standard, same thing with cops. If you're gonna uphold the standard where, you know, you stop somebody, and if you don't know where their hand is and it's a cell phone and they raise it up and you get scared and shoot them, make that a standard for everybody. Make it so that when you go to these white neighborhoods and they don't put their hand on the steering wheel at first and they lift up their hand and you get scared, that you shoot them too. As long as that's happening, then we can see that there's a problem with the police, and that, which there is,
the police union. The police union is the problem.
Yeah. It's just what that, and you know, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's a whole different podcast. You can come back and we talk about that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just it's the standardization of what we allow and don't allow. And if you're gonna take me down, then take other stuff down that you see as bullying and harassment. But don't let me see a video of just black ignorance. To be honest with you, of just pure black ignorance, and that shit is allowed to get 1 million likes and stay on the platform willingly to like spread that false narrative. But then a black educated person gets taken down because you feel like that's somehow divisive. That's the shit that like pisses me off, and it's like, yo, y'all motherfuckers, like, I'm like, y'all really think that y'all slick, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I know that TikTok is a Chinese company, I get it, but and I understand
they're part of the same machine to keep us down and to perpetuate stereotypes. The black owned social media. Do we have a black owned social media presence or platforms?
Now,
and why can't we create our own?
Yeah,
just like Dame Dash Studios. Like, nobody's talking about Dame Dash and his platforms and his studio that he has.
I think black people believe that black people don't make quality content. I'm just gonna say it.
White ice is better than black ice, right?
Yep. And that's literally not. It's not true. We are working with what we have, and I think that the sooner that we understand that we are not given the same amount of resources as white people, or as Asian people to create these things, and we start to go, okay, I'm gonna deal with what we have here, and I'm proud of it, and I know that me being proud of it and that me being a part of it will actually uplift it and bring it to the point of where it needs to be. Once we're able to buy into that, I think that we will be able to increase the like quality and standard. But yeah, right now, you know, you might find like it's like a black social media network, and you might go on it, and yeah, it might not be as visually appealing as a Facebook or a TikTok or an Instagram, but at least you could know that this is yours and that you are able to speak freely and not be shut down, and that it's something that is a work in progress, you know.
But I remember when Facebook first came out, it wasn't aesthetically pleasing. I remember Instagram wasn't either. I remember these things, man. It's like, I lived through the I remember growing up, we didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
There was no internet, you know, so it's like everything has a baby. You gotta crawl before you walk.
I also think that I think we also give a lot more grace to white people to make mistakes and to fuck up. I think it's one of those things where like you love the abuser. That's a certain syndrome. I forgot what the name of it is. Stockholm syndrome. Where like, you know, you love the abuser, and I think that we are much more likely to give grace to a white person to fuck up or to make a mistake and to be okay with it than we are a black person. Like, you know, a black person fucks up and we're very critical of them, and you know, you make one mistake and it's like, yeah, fuck you, never again will I ever work with you again, blah blah. But then a white person does it and it's like, oh, let me go to the next white person down the block and see if it's still the case. It's like, how are we able to give white people so many chances to fuck up, but then with our people we're so critical of them?
Yeah, with the black-owned business, same way. Well, how do we break out of that, brother? How do we push forward through that?
It has to be a trust thing, because it's that same trust that for some reason gives us so much grace towards white people, is that we have to trust that.
But we don't trust. We can't even trust anything, because everything is to destroy us or against us. How can we build that trust back in our community? Is what I'm saying.
I mean, one, I think it starts a lot with the content creators. A lot of people that are creating this content, you need to uphold morals and standards, and really standards, to the point of where we're not giving passes for one thing and not for the other, or we're not giving any sort of favoritism. Because I work at the schools. I'm a teacher, and you will see that a white kid will do something. A white kid will do something bad, and you reprimand them, and then they'll stop doing it. I'll be honest. Some of them will just stop doing it flat out, right? But a black person will do something, or like a black kid will, and maybe they'll keep on going for whatever reason. But it's like a lot of the teachers are much more likely to give that white person a second chance, and a third one, and a fourth one, and not kick him out, and not do this, not do that. But then a Spanish kid or a black kid can do it 2-3 times, and it's like, yeah, I get out. I can't have you. It's like we in these leadership positions have to be willing to give more grace to our people. Stop trying to be like every other race, and stop trying to make it fair for every race. Fuck that. Why are we still doing that? How about we get to a place where, if I'm a black leader, if I work in the subway system as an MTA person, and a black person walks up to me and says, "Hey, bro, can I go through?" You let them go through. If there's a white cop sitting there, you tell them, "Hey, bro, you might not want to hop this turnstile because I'm a cop there." But no, we'll watch a black person hop it and be like, "Yeah, they should have never even did nothing in the first place." It's like, where is that? Why is there so much of that deep inner? It's like a lot of projection. A lot of us don't like ourselves very much, not because we just were born like that, but because we're in a country that tells us to hate ourselves. And so, we grew up and we shield ourselves with all these things, from clothes to money to jobs to title to status to women to everything, to feel like we're better. But then deep down inside, we project that same hate onto other black people that we feel are lesser than us, because they don't have the same clothes or money or status or woman or things. And it happens every time. All of these rappers, all these rich black people who get to a certain place, always try to flex. Every single time they're trying to flex. As soon as they get to it, don't even take 2 seconds before they're already trying to show up to their friends about what they got, and like how they got it, and how they need to step their game up, and how they, even with the whole Steven Jackson thing, man. I got, my Facebook was like, yeah, it's like they were mad at me because I was like, yo, why is he going to O Block trying to act like he is this like tough guy or whatever? And they were like, yo, like you are like misinformed. He does a lot for the black community, and he like gives money, donates. I'm like, okay, that's fine and dandy, but you going to O Block with a chain on and saying not everybody can come here. Who are you speaking to? Are you speaking to other black people? You are speaking to other black people, and you are trying to draw that line in the sand and saying that somehow you're better than me because you can go to a certain hood that I can't go to. One, I probably would never even want to go there. To be completely honest with you, I value my life. I'm not going to step into any hood that I'm not welcome in, right? Feel me? But then on top of that, it's like, if you were really trying to help, and maybe he did in silence, but if you were really trying to help, maybe taking a picture of you handing out stuff would be nice. Or maybe, in your video that you're making, when you have other people from O Block coming in there throwing up gang signs and saying other stuff, it's like, maybe you could say, hey brother, like not right now, like I'm actually trying to make a video that is going to be shown to other black people. So if I get on this video and now you're throwing up gang signs in the back, what am I perpetuating? What cycle am I starting?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
He's perpetuating the wedge, because him saying, "Oh, yo, y'all probably can't come in this community," is telling everybody else, "Don't come to this community. Don't help. Don't change anything here.
Yep.
This is how it's supposed to be. This is how it's going to be." Instead of going to them saying, "Yo, even though it's gangsta out here, we still human. We still got love for our people."
Yes.
let's build this community up, let's change. You know, it's just it's part of the same engine. I guarantee you somebody at the network told him to do that. You know, to keep that edge, to keep him edgy for TV, you know.
Yeah, it's like I even like Morant came out. And he said something very similar of like, I'm always gonna be who I am. Like I'm always gonna be like straight from the hood, from the gutter. I'm like, brother, you make millions of dollars a year. You have not seen a hood in a very long time. You go from hotel to hotel room. You get treated from hand to foot. You get very nice. You live a completely different lifestyle than how you had to growing up. Why do you feel the need to prove to other black people so much that you're still hood? And maybe there is an intrinsic need because we love our hood, we do, and we want so bad to feel validated from our hood. We do. We want to feel that presence and that culture and that love, and a lot of hood people will see a black person elevate and hate them for it and not like them for it. And so we feel a need of like, I'm trying to show the hood I'm still one of them, so that way they don't think that I'm getting to a certain place and that I'm just abandoning them. But there's better ways to go about that. If you went back to the hood and built something, that's why someone like LeBron is loved so much from Akron, Ohio, because although he grew up in the hood, he never once abandoned. I don't care what team you go to, all the money that he's making always goes back to his hood. Always.
Because he affected somebody in that hood. A lot of these dudes, these rappers, they leave and they come back and they be like, oh, he donates this, but that one person, it didn't directly affect them, so they're gonna hate. If you got love for your hood, everybody in your hood is getting touched by your positivity and your donations. Not just this person and that person, the whole entire hood got. That's why you get these dudes that want to rob you, they want to do this to you because you're like, yo, I love my hood. You see, I got my hood behind me, but you just got a few people. You know what I mean? Instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna just bring everybody to the hood and record my video and give everybody a job. Hey, you could clean up after we're done here. You know what I mean? Yeah, hey, help the crew pack up.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting touched. Everybody has a job.
Exactly. Like it's like mobilizing the troops. Like don't just use the troops for clout to seem like you have this image. And remember, all of these record labels are ran by white people who are perpetuating this on purpose to again toxify our community. And we have to stop falling for it. That's the shit that is getting me. Where it's like yo, we have to wake up and stop falling for the trap. Like these are very obviously put, and we are mice going to cheese right now. And it's like, not to be rude, but no wonder why they be looking at us like, yo, look at these niggas. Look at how dumb they look. You know what I'm saying? But all this half-ass shit of trying to look like you're something, but then you're trying to get over, or you're trying to, you know what I'm saying? Is like, of course they're gonna look at us kind of walk and kind of crazy of like, yo, like, what are these people doing? Like, why would you come in here with hair that costs $400, but you don't want to spend $40 for your nails? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you trying to get over on? You know what I'm saying? And not to say that,
I get what you're saying, but they still have to respect our black dollars. And they have, if I'm paying $40 for something, I want the service that it says comes with it. Don't rush, don't cut my fingers.
Absolutely.
Don't do this.
Yeah,
you know,
hell yeah. Money is money.
Facts.
Money is green.
Money is money, man. You gotta respect my black dollars.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem. They don't respect our black dollars because we don't respect.
We don't respect our, have to respect our dollar. We got to start holding it down, saving, investing. You know what I'm saying? And maybe and just investing it back into our own stuff, not just willing to give it over to the white man or over to the Asian person or over to the whoever the fuck. We have to stop being so quick to just give it away. And I think part of us is that we're afraid that it's gonna be gone. Like we're afraid that either we're gonna lose it or we'll like fuck it up, or like maybe it doesn't. Maybe the wealth and value doesn't make sense to how we feel about ourselves deep down inside. Like there's like a disconnect there, and you know what I'm saying? There's like, it's so deep rooted, there's so many different layers to it. But you're absolutely right, brother. Like we really have to start respecting our black dollar, because why should other races respect our dollar and wealth if we don't respect our dollar and wealth?
Brazil Maxwell or whatever the lady is, the Epstein chick.
Oh yeah.
She got 20 years. R. Kelly gets 30. Personally, I think we should just put both of them in front of a firing squad and shoot them both.
Yep.
I love R. Kelly's music, man. Man, let me tell you. But I mean, the music has nothing to do with his personal life. So,
and this is why we have to be careful as Black people to not make those mistakes, because we know that when we get put on the chopping block, that like they're gonna chop our head clean off. There's no grace. There's no nothing. And even the like Boondocks talked about this. I don't know if you remember that Boondocks episode with the R. Kelly joint, but they're verbatim. But it's exactly how it went. Where he went to court for the peeing thing, and you got Black people outside saying free R. Kelly. I love, I don't care that he did this and did that. I love his music. It's great. Just free him so that way he can make more music. Like, we do that a lot of times. We're like, we don't care what the Black person did, whether it's in drill music or whether it's whatever. We're like, you could go outside and shoot 10 people, shoot 10 of us. But as long as your music is fire, you can go out there and
makes us feel good. That's all we all do.
Yeah, because it's like, what do we value over others? And this is not to only just get on Black people, because like if we get into these, but the reason why I get on Black people a lot is because we have to stop expecting handouts from white people. Stop getting into these courtrooms and then expecting like that they're gonna fuck with you and give you grace. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna violate you. So how about we just stop getting in these situations to begin with? We have to. I don't care what the circumstances are. There's something as idiotic as I'm rich, so I'm gonna pee on little girls. That's just you being like asinine and you choosing to put yourself in a fucked up situation, because you could easily go to therapy to figure out what's going on with it. All right. So when you end up in this situation and you get those 30 years, and then you're looking at the Black people like, yo, can we go riot or can we go protest? I don't know, bro. I don't know if I want to really waste my body and resources protesting this when you kind of put yourself in that situation. You know what I'm saying? All that money that you had, I have not heard of a R. Kelly school teaching like Black kids how to sing. Never. You know what I'm saying? I don't. So if you're gonna expect listen, I'm all for Black people. You know what I'm saying? If something happens to a Black figure that we feel like is unfair, like I mean, with the whole like Bill Cosby thing, for example, like I find it very peculiar that after 30 years, all of a sudden all these people come out saying all this. I find it a little peculiar that as soon as he wanted to buy a major TV network, that all of a sudden all these things come out that maybe they already did know about, and maybe, you know what I'm saying, was already out there, but now it's coming back because you're getting a little bit too out of your lane. I'm all for us standing up and going, hey, maybe that term was a little bit too harsh for it, or hey, can we just look over that case again and just seeing if like all the facts are true? Like can we just do that? I'm all for that. I'm all for us mobilizing our troops and making that happen. But you gotta help us out. Like, it's like, you gotta do something for us too. Why should we come out of our seats and go riot and do this and that and third, possibly get pepper sprayed, and possibly get chased by dogs, and possibly get beat by cops, and possibly be, you know what I'm saying? It's like, these are real human lives going out there doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm all for that. But when you get rich, if you were to help Black people, we would be very willing to be on your side when it comes down to you being in front of the white man. Because at the end of the day, we are a family, and we do see each other as a family. We do. But if you get to a certain place in your life and you go, fuck you Black people, I'm gonna go do my thing, and then you get fucked over by a white person, now you're looking back like, hey, can you guys help me out? It's like, I don't think I want to, bro. I think that you gotta handle that on your own, brother.
They stopped protecting R. Kelly when they got control of his masters. You know, because he doesn't own his own masters anymore.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. How does R. Kelly not own his own fucking master? Do you know who Melanie Hobson is?
No, actually. Who's that?
Okay, this is George Lucas. You know who George Lucas is?
Yes. Yep.
Creator of Star Wars. She now is the third non-white chairman that holds stock in a football team, the Denver Broncos. Okay. So now she's a part owner. Do you think she would have been a part owner if she had not been married to George Lucas?
Absolutely not. No. Why would you? Why? For what? Why would they do that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think that's why they let her in, because they were like, yo, you're George Lucas' wife, and everybody that's white loves Star Wars. I like Star Wars too. I'm Black too. But.
Yeah. I mean, but that's what I'm saying is like,
do you think she'll make some type of change in the NFL with this big move she made?
I don't know. Depends on how much she wants to cater to black people. That's what's her, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, what's her, I mean, she married a white dude, so it's like, you know, you gotta, it's like, you know, it's just, it really is just up to whether or not she wants to. It's gonna put her in a situation. Same thing with like the NFL is very white owned, and I am not a big fan of, like, we know that like ramming your head into other heads will give you brain issues and will make you have mental health issues. But then when these NFL people come out and kill their families or kill themselves, then they act like there's no correlation. Or like how white people will sit in the audience and cheer on these black bodies as if they're fucking like gladiators and not really care about the black people. I'm not a big fan of how sports sometimes feels like a horse race. It really feels like, listen, I like basketball, I like football, I like these sports, but it's like, I'm just not a fan of how I feel like they really like use black body, bro. They be putting, it's almost like a fucking auction block. You would think it's an auction block, swear to God. Like, you know, like, oh, this team is looking to buy this black person for $100 million for like 5 years. Oh, no. This person is gonna vote for like $200 million for this black person. It's like, that shit just kind of rubs me the wrong way. So if she were to make a change, if she were to go in there and go, okay, you know, the Colin Kaepernick situation was handled terribly. We do need to find a way to value black people, the same black people that are literally making us all this money in the NFL. Then I applaud her. I'll be very, very happy for her, and I'm happy to see where the future goes. But I'm not expecting it. Absolutely not.
Are you still marijuana free?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. How long has this been?
I think I stopped counting. I think I'm on like day 30 by now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, after a while, you just
headaches.
Maybe I can't even. It's funny because I forget that I quit, so I might attribute something to just me and myself having an issue where it could just be the lack of smoking or whatever. But nah, man, it's like, and it's always tough because I've smoked. Like when I first smoked, I was 12. You know what I'm saying, like, so.
Okay, so you were 12 when you first smoked. Who brought it to you? Like, what?
My cousin.
What was the situation? Your cousin.
Yeah, okay. He was, you know, like, he was more in the streets than me, but I was always at his crib because I was trying to escape from home and shit. So, you know, I was always like chilling with him, and he was just around older people. So I was 12, he was 13, his friends were like 17, 18. So, you know what I'm saying? So we would be out on his fire escape. He's like, yo, come on. And, you know, they'd be smoking the shit. He passed to me. I'm trying to be cool. Everybody there is like older than me. I was a nerd my whole life. So it's like, of course, I'm going to try to do some cool shit. Like, so I just smoked it and I felt good. I laughed. We giggled. The food was mad good. Like, there was to me at the time, there was no downside. My mom smoked cigarettes my whole life. So I never thought of like there being a downside to it. You know what I'm saying? So
what strain was it? Do you know?
Probably sour. I mean, back then everything was sour.
Everything was sour.
Everything was sour.
Sour diesel, right?
Yeah, there was none of this fancy ass shit that we have now. Everything was just sour. So, yeah, it was just sour, and I didn't make a habit of it now. Like, I probably would smoke I smoked like a couple times when I was 12. His mom caught us, so I kind of chilled out for a bit, and then I smoked again maybe before school when I was like 14. Again, hanging out with there was a kid who would bully me a lot, but we were friends still. It was just weird like that, and you know, he was like, yo, I mean, do you want to smoke and shit? Oh, yeah, we smoked or whatever. And went to class high as hell. It was cool, but I never really made a habit of it because I don't know. I just didn't I was stupid when I smoked. So I was just like, why would I keep on? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna keep school is my only escape. Like, I was always expected to do well in school, so I'm not gonna forego school to get high. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I saw a lot of value in school because I wanted to get the fuck out of where I was from. So yeah. And then remember, I was going to the military, and so I couldn't smoke. So, you know, I was going to the station like every Tuesday and Thursday to work out and stuff like that. So I didn't smoke then. So I kind of avoided a lot of the high school shit from that. But then in college, yeah, I smoked OD from the first from the first day that I walked in. my roommate Alex was some white pothead, and he was like, and he put the weed in the. He took out. He like gutted the like cigarette shit and put the weed in there to like hide it from the UPD or whatever. And yeah, bro. Ever since then, we just smoked. I smoked all through college, which it was an experience. But looking back, I think I would have been a much bigger presence than I already was had I not smoked throughout my college career. Because smoking made me very reclusive. Like I was very quick to finish an event, and instead of shaking hands and building connections, I would run back to my room to go smoke to give myself that applause of like, good job, like you did something good, like
by yourself, isolated.
Right, exactly, extremely isolated, like, or just spending a lot of the bread that I could have been saving up to either pay down college loans to have a lower DTI to this day, so that way I can get a home now at 26 as opposed to having to wait till I'm maybe 30. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like just even being around certain circles, certain people, like, you know what I'm saying? In college, you end up in ciphers with people smoking that you don't even know, just because they might have $10 and this person might have $10, and you can smoke more if you chill with them, like, you know. Like then when they started mixing in Fonto and tobacco, it's like, now not only are we smoking weed, but now we kind of getting right hooked on tobacco, so now it's harder to kick the habit. Feel me? Like, so yeah, me and weed always had a bit of a special relationship, to be honest. I'll keep it a bit like, and I love weed. I loved to smoke. I loved to be high. It was my one thing in the day that I felt like was my peace of mind in a world full of bullshit. But now that's replaced with me working out. I have a very addictive personality. My dad did crack, cocaine, all that shit. My mom did too. I came out the womb. I went to foster care for my first 2 years because there was drugs in my system off the gate. So I have a very addictive personality, and so I have to be very careful with what I get attached to, because I will do the fuck out of that, like whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's alcohol or whether it's weed or whatever. Now, right now, it's working out. I love working out. I was working out last night like 12:30 in the morning because it was like I had a long day. I was tired as hell, but that's my peace. Like that's the one place I get to go to where I work out and I look in the mirror and I see a better version of myself than I did yesterday. I don't look in the mirror and see the insecurities. Like I would smoke sometimes and I would look at myself and like I would feel insecure and I would feel like I'm not reaching my full potential, but I would ignore it because I could just get high again. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I knew that I had money problems, but I didn't care because I can get high. I just saw a post on Facebook. Niggas was like, oh, if it's between an eighth and a meal, I'm picking the eighth every time. And black people sharing it up and liking it, loving it. And you gotta understand, like, when I stop smoking now, I'm looking at that and I'm just like, yo, that's crazy, because that's facts. Like, you would rather buy the eighth and go eat some fucking bread at home.
Eat some fucking food. Or have your kids eat a sandwich. You spend That's how important does physical health help mental health? In your opinion?
A lot. I mean, I think that through physical health and through working on your body, you can improve your mental health. Not all the way. I think that mental health can improve your physical health, obviously. But you have to be the best version of yourself. You can't blame. Don't go out there and blame shit. Like, don't go. I hate a lot of men be like, these girls is tripping because they don't want me. Well, nigga, do you look good? Like, are you trying? Do you get a haircut every other week? How do you dress? Do you work out? How do you smell? Like, do you even try? Like, do you try to be the best version of yourself and then see what happens and what changes for you in your life? Or do you half-ass it and expect a woman to just take that? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, what do you do and how much command do you take over your life and situation? I'm all for somebody taking full command of their situation and shit just not working out. I'm all more for giving that person sympathy and grace than I am for somebody who half tries and then complains about shit around them. I'm not a fan of that, because you can't tell me that Harriet Tubman ain't have a fucked up situation but took command of her space, and that there weren't probably people around her who was like, yeah, you're bugging, I'm not going there. And she was probably like, alright, you can stay here, I'm gonna take command of this shit, I'm gonna go. So, whether or not it kills me, I'm gonna make sure to be the best version of myself possible with what we got. And you see how her being the best version of herself inspires everybody around her. And that's kind of similar in my situation, where as soon as I put the weed down and started to like get that clear head and get that clear vision, the arrow got sharpened and it had a direction. And then when I started to then work out and work on myself, people watch me every single day while they sit on their ass. But they watch me though. though. They know that I'm gonna work out, and that in 6 months I'm gonna have a way better body than I did back then. That because of that, my self-esteem and confidence will go up. And because of that, if my girl was to break her ankle on the street somewhere, imagine me trying to pick her up and I can't. Imagine me having to carry her to the hospital if she's pregnant because the damn car broke down and I can't because I'm too weak. How the fuck should I feel as a man when I can't do that? You know what I'm saying? Men treat you different when you look bigger. Facts. If I walk into a room and I'm scrawny, they're gonna look at me like, the hell is this guy? But if I walk in there diesel hulked up like The Rock, they're gonna be like, might want to think twice before I, you know what I'm saying, try and like grill him, or before I try like buff him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a whole different demeanor. So, you know what I'm saying? If God gave you the ability, and sorry, not to be too long-winded, but if God gave you the ability every single day to wake up and to breathe and to smell and to have 2 hands and 2 eyes and 2 feet and 2 ears, where a lot of people ain't have that, and still make some shit work, what the fuck excuse do you have? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't value yourself to the full ability, and just say that. It's okay to be honest with yourself and go, you know what? I'm a lazy fuck. I don't feel like doing this. And because of that, I'm not getting to where I want to be in my life. But you have to say that before you can move forward and go, all right, well, let me make some small changes. If I can just do 5 push-ups a day, if I can just do 10 push-ups a day, 20 push-ups a day, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it'll grow into this, and maybe that will grow into this. And I would have never met you, Crack King, if I didn't put the weed down. Hand of God, bro. You know what I'm saying? This would have never happened if I didn't at some point say, all right, let me just try to live my life without it and just see what changes. I've never heard somebody say, I went to the gym and my life got worse. I never heard somebody say, I quit weed and my life got worse. I quit alcohol and my life got worse. We know the things that we have to do to become the best version of ourselves, but we choose to not do it because we get complacent and we get comfortable with the struggle. And this speaks for all black people out there too. It's like, don't get comfortable in the struggle, because that's exactly what they want you to do. If you watch Naruto, it's the same thing as the Infinite Tsukuyomi. People out there to watch that know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a genjutsu. Yep, it's a genjutsu that affects everybody. It just keeps them in this dream state of feeling like shit is positive and shit is valid, but in reality, shit is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna end up waking up from your dream, and you're gonna be fucking 35 and realize that you got nothing done, because you were just so happy with just that instant gratification of picking up that book.
Facts. I want to thank this powerful brother for coming on my show and bringing his content to my show, man. It was powerful, bro. I got goosebumps. This is the Crack King podcast. Let everybody know where they can find you at, powerful brother.
Yes, sir. So again, Airanthinksalot. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram. My Facebook is going to be Aaron Words Turner. Even if you don't go out and find me, I will find you. You will see me at some point. I will pop up on your For You page. I will pop up somewhere. If God allows it and is able, all the people that are supposed to meet me and hear my message will. So
I hope that everyone sees your message, because it's powerful and it needs to be out there, brother. We need brothers like you on the front line.
Have never been so much in love before. Difference, a true love in a life. So nice, so right. Loving you gave me something new that I never cup, feeling I had before. Oh, it's much, much more.